Yeah, good morning everybody, good morning and welcome to a new video. It's Saturday 9th of August 2020. It should be a very hot and sunny day, I think 35 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. So I took the morning hours to take a ride on the bicycle. Sadly, maybe you can hear that, my bottom bracket has worn out and needs to be replaced. When I come home I will replace it. It's quite straightforward, I think. And yeah, I'll show it to you. See you. So, now I'm back home and I'd like to take off the cover for the chain and then remove the cranks, and then we can change the bottom bracket. So, let's get started. First we have to remove the 3 screws the chain cover is fixed with. After that we can remove the chain cover. And now we can remove the covers of the screws of the cranks and remove them with a 14mm nut. We have to do the same thing on the other side as well. Now we can use this crank puller to pull the crank from the axle. Therefore we have to screw the crank puller fully in, and then we can use the wrench to use the inner screw of the crank puller to pull the crank off its axle. Removing the first one, and now we have to do it on the other side as well. And the second one is removed. To remove the bottom bracket itself, we need this special nut and our wrench, and we can remove the nut from the bottom bracket on the non-driven side in pedaling direction, and then we can remove the bottom bracket itself also in pedaling direction on the driven side. So first let's remove the holder for the chain cover. You can see this is the bottom bracket, well greased, and 128mm is written on there. And if you move it, then you can really feel that it's worn out, that it's not in good order any longer. If you're not sure about the length, then just use your caliper and check the length. And in this case, yes, it's 128mm. Let's take the opportunity and have a look inside of the metal frame. If we have it open, you can see a lot of grease and a lot of metallic chips. Let's clean them off. Use the old cloth and clean it really well. For my new bottom bracket, I've chosen a Shimano bottom bracket, 127.5mm in length. It is shipped with 2 screws and the bottom bracket itself, of course. First we have to well grease the bottom bracket, especially the threads. Now we can insert the bottom bracket, and don't forget the holder for the chain cover. To screw it in, it's best using the nut and your hands against pedaling direction, and be careful not to jam it up. These threads are very small and easy to destroy if you jam it up. On the other side, of course, we have to grease the nut itself and then put it in by hand, first with your hands, then with the nut, and yeah. To fix the bottom bracket, we first have to fix the holder for the chain cover. Therefore we screw it in, and then we can use our wrench to tighten up the bottom bracket, first on the driven side and then on the other side as well. Around 30 Nm should be a good amount. And then we can put on the crank on this non-driven side and fix it with a screw and tighten it with a 14mm nut. Then we have to remove the chain cover again, as we want to insert the driven crank. We just put it on the chain and then 180 degrees opposite of the other crank, on the axle of the bottom bracket and fix it with a screw and tighten the screw with a 14mm nut and the wrench. As these conical seats can set themselves, you have to retighten them after a certain driving distance. Now we can install the chain cover the last time, fix it with the screws and put on the covers for the screws of the cranks, and that's it. Yeah, now we have finished our little repair on the bottom bracket. This is the old one, and if you move it by hand, then you can really feel that it is worn out and that it's not in good order any longer. As it is 128mm in length and the new one is 127.5mm in length, we have to take a little test drive and check whether the shifting of the gears so that the chain moves properly from gear to gear. We have to test that, and that is our next step. So let's take a little test drive. Yeah, everything's working really good, I have to say. No adjustment needed, and therefore I think our repair is finished. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below, and otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Wish you a great time. See you next time. Goodbye.